Hi, I'm Papia, and in this problem, we are going to find the domain and range of a function. And the function that's given to us is right here. It's negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. So let us first understand what is domain and range of a function. So let's start with domain. So this is what I always think of. A function is almost like a machine. So say you have this machine f, and what you do is you input something in the machine, and for every input you get an output. So what is it you're inputting? Of course, x. See, f of x. So you plug in x in the machine, and as output you get f of x. So if you consider this is the setting, what is domain? Domain is all these values that you can plug in the machine without any problem, which means without breaking the machine. So this is our domain. Okay, so let's go back to the function and let's think about what x values we can plug in this machine or this expression so that you can get an output for each input. Well, look at this. This is just a polynomial expression. For example, there is no denominator. Well, if it has a denominator, then we have to worry about whether for any x value the denominator will be 0. That can break the machine. Also notice that there is no radical. For example, there is no square root. If it had a square root, we will have to worry about if there is a negative value inside the square root. So this is just a plain polynomial. So what kind of x values can we plug in so that we get an output? Can you plug in any positive, any negative real numbers, say any rational or irrational? It is just a polynomial, and yes, you can plug in any real numbers and you will always get an output. And remember that this is true for every polynomial. So the domain of this function is all real numbers. And in interval notation, you know how to write the whole real line. It's everything between negative infinity and infinity. So that is the domain. Now, we have to figure out what is the range of the function. So if we come back to this particular setup, what is range? Range is all this output that you are getting. Okay. So for this particular function, let's think about when you plug in all these real numbers, what kind of output are we going to get? Are we getting all real numbers as output? Let's be careful and think about it, okay? Look at the expression one more time. This is a polynomial. It's a quadratic expression because the degree is 2. And what do we know the quadratic function? What is the graph of a quadratic function? It is a parabola. You know that, right? Okay. Notice further that x squared has a negative sign, and that tells us that the parabola will be opening downward. So it'll look something like this. Okay, so as soon as you know the parabola looks like this, I don't know where the xy exactly is, but if you just roughly draw an xy coordinate plane, notice the range is going to be the y values that you are getting as output, right? So once we figure out what is the maximum y value for this particular function, then the range will be everything below that point. So all we need to do is figure out what is the maximum value of this function. Now, this is actually the vertex of the parabola. So there are various ways you can figure out that point, but one simple way will be to just draw a table. So plug in some x values in this expression and figure out the corresponding y values, which is the output, f of x. Okay, so where do you want to start? You can start anywhere. Let's start with 0 if you want. So if you plug in 0 for x, you get 0, 0, and then you get a 3. So your output is 3. Okay, so let's plug in some simple values. Say plug in 1 next. So let's see, we get -1, -2, that's -3, +3, so you get a 0. So notice this is a continuous function, right? and 0 onward, you're getting, the values are getting smaller. So you keep getting smaller values. So in order to find the maximum, let's go towards the left. Okay, say, let's plug in -1. Okay, so be careful now. You're plugging in negative values and there are various negative signs. So let's see what we get. We get negative of -1 square minus 2 times -1 plus 3. So this is -1 square, so still +1 with a negative sign. So you have a -1, this is a +2 and plus 3. So this is 4. Okay, now we're getting higher values, right? Okay, let's do one more. Let's see what we get when you plug in -2. So you do the same thing again, just be careful. This is negative of -2 square minus 2 times -2 plus 3. Let's do a quick calculation. Be careful. So this is -4, +4 plus 3. This is 3. So we're starting to get lower values, right? So it seems like this 4 is kind of the highest value here. You can plug in a few points in between these and you will see that the highest value is actually 4. So what is the range? Remember, it's all the y values below 4. So how do we write it in interval notation? Everything between -∞ to 4, but notice that 4 itself is also an output, so it will be included in that interval as well. All right, so this function, this is the domain, and this is the range. Thank you.